where were you at in your life when you first became aware of the pound cake speech? Were you one of those guys who were like, "Yo, fuck this guy," or were you caught up in a respectability bubble? Like, you know what?
Oh
He
no.
pull your pants up. He's right. If you pull your pants
No, no,
up,
no.
you're gonna get that $250,000 job.
No, I was definitely not the pull up your pants guy. As my pants will attest, or whatever. But yeah, I was not the. I was not in the. I was way past that. I wasn't in the fuck this guy camp. I was in the like, why are you doing this?
Mm,
Like I was really in the camp of like, you're hurting my feelings. You're really like, you're. Why are you so? I was really trying to understand why is this man turning on us? Is my feeling of it. And at the time, I put it in. He's older now. He's disappointed, as a lot of black people get when they get older, that the promises of the early parts of their lives have not been realized. And instead of blaming the system, he's blaming the black people, the younger black folks behind him, which every generation does to some extent. You young people don't know what you're doing.
right.
You're not as good as we were. You're ruining it. We did all this hard work for you, and you aren't appreciating it. Every generation does that in some sense, but it felt especially cruel coming from Bill Cosby, who had always been there, has always been a symbol of uplift. I was also aware that like a lot of black people agreed with Bill Cosby.
Uh,
Like a lot of black people were like, "Thank you for finally saying this."
and gave a lot of white people, which you point out in the film, especially political figures, the license to blame us for society's failures.
And then also the fact that I remember at the time realizing it wasn't just one speech, he was turning it into a career. He
Mm-hmm.
wrote a book about it. He was on tour about it. And to me that was like he was like used it as like, "Oh, wait a minute. This can be a new way for me to get some more butts in the seats." And so I was definitely in the camp of like, but at the same time, I also sometime around that time, Bill Cosby came to Oakland and played the Paramount Theater, and me and a friend of mine were like, "I've never seen Bill Cosby perform live. Should we go see Bill Cosby perform live?" And so at the time, there's the pound cake speech, there's Bill Cosby still a comedian who's going to perform at the Paramount, and also there was this woman Autumn Jackson who was saying Bill Cosby's my dad, he had an affair with my mom, and I'm suing him for, or I think I want to prove that he's my dad. And all this was sort of swirling around, but again, it was the early 2000s. There was no social media to put it all together.
Right.
So I remember going to that Bill Cosby show, being like, "Is he going to talk? Is he going to yell at us? Is he going to tell us to pull our pants up? Is he going to talk about Autumn Jackson? Is somebody in the crowd going to heckle him about Autumn Jackson? Because hecklers like to attack your weak spots." And instead, it was just 2 hours of classic Bill Cosby, of just Bill Cosby being America's dad. And I remember just being like so amazed at like how he was able to, like, all the other stuff was shut out. And it wasn't until, as we say in the film, Hannibal Buress sort of added all this together. And then by then the rape allegations had come out, that it sort of became something that many of us couldn't shut out anymore. We couldn't silo these conversations off.